Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Honorable Chairman, Representative Luis John A. Ferrer IV is present. The other officers and members of the Committee on National Defense of the Commission on Appointments are Alvarez Jr., Arbison, De La Rosa,
Present. Present.
yes, sir. Go,
Present.
Even prior to the
Lacson,
reply about it.
Pimentel III,
Present.
Agas,
as a global agenda
44.
coming into its application in various
Chepeco Jr.,
challenges that hamper FLLR
Ontiveros,
alongside
Present.
bond
Who's
challenges
LTO?
Noel,
ecosystem restoration
And Camille
as
told
well
me
as
about this
secular
problem.
in government. So for today's second webinar,
Ramirez Sato,
consolidating experiences in games, sports, and
Present.
Recto, Revilla Jr., Villar,
dimensions.
Present.
Thirdly, discuss the challenges
Subiri, Zamora, Almario, Villanueva, Pancho, Drilon, Advincula, Heron,
Okay. With 2 members present in
Excuse me,
person, including the chair, and 14
Mr.
members
Secretary.
present online,
Present
with a
Zubiri.
total of 6.
Poe present.
Zubiri is present.
Okay. So, with 15 members present online, with a total of 17 members present, the existence of a quorum is hereby declared. Majority Leader,
Mr. Chairman, I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held on May 19, 2021, and consider the same as approved.
is there an objection? Hearing none, the chair, the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held on May 19, 2021 is dispensed with, and the same is considered approved. Members of the Committee on National Defense of the Commission Appointments, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. The agenda for this committee's consideration today includes a deliberation of 44 ad interim appointments and 6 nominations of senior officers in the Armed Forces of the Philippines. And the resumption of the deliberation on the ad interim appointment of Brigadier General Lowell Tan, which was suspended in last week's committee hearing. With the indulgence of our esteemed members of this committee, the Chair would like to manifest that the consideration of the appointment of Brigadier General Tan, which is included in the agenda for today, is hereby deferred. The Chair deems it the deferment necessary in order to give the members of this committee more time to study and review the documents pertaining to, as well as the opposition filed on his appointment. Hence today, we will consider only the 44 ad interim appointments and 6 nominations of the senior officers in the Armed Forces of the Philippines that were submitted to the committee's jurisdiction for its consideration. Officers that are under consideration today, kindly stand up as your name is called. Rosel L. Tan, to the rank of Colonel, Judge Advocate General Service. Primitivo M. Corpus Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Judge Advocate General Service. Santiago O. Rodriguez Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Medical Corps. Darlene D. Flores to the rank of Colonel, Nurse Corps. Victoria R. Odulio to the rank of Colonel, Judge Advocate General Service. Reserve. Lemar R. de la Calzada to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Barbara Dolini C. Conte to the rank of Colonel, Nurse Corps, Reserve. Rogelio T. Montero Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Dental Service, Reserve. Marlo S. Omalesa to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Joseph Alin U. Ibuna to the rank of Colonel, Medical Administrative Corps, Reserve. Christopher L. Fredeluces to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force. Marvin A. De Jesus to the rank of Colonel, Medical Administrative Corps. Joshua R. Leones to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force. Danilo T. Facundo to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Navy Marines. Bonifacio I. Manzano to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Elmer G. Toriado to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Jonah D. Dalagit to the rank of Colonel, Medical Corps, Reserve. Benjamin G. Batara Jr. to the rank of Brigadier General. Mark Edwin B. Moro to the rank of Brigadier General. Justino T. Ramolete to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force. Antonio I. Bautista Jr. to the rank of Brigadier General. Erlin P. Espera to the rank of Colonel, Nurse Corps, Reserve. Jose Marie T. Santos, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Navy Marines. Percival O. Buted to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Krishnamurti A. Mortella to the rank of Brigadier General. Arlene M. Mandal to the rank of Colonel, Nurse Corps, Reserve. Edilberto O. Balduman to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Assumption R.D. to the rank of Colonel, Nurse Corps, Reserve. Antonio C. Palces to the rank of Rear Admiral. Carlito T. Buslon to the rank of Colonel, Chaplain Service. Nelson S. Simpliciano to the rank of Colonel, Veterinary Corps. Rolly B. Figueroa to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army Reserve. Leo Jimmy G. Marte to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army Reserve. Paul Vincent D. Fajardo to the rank of Colonel, Veterinary Corps. Arnulfo C. De Vera to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Frederick M. Sales to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Freddy T. De La Cruz to the rank of Brigadier General. Eugene M. Villaruz to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army Reserve. Junmar A. Sales to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy. Domingo B. Meschola Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Noel D. Beleran to the rank of Brigadier General. Oscar B. Balignasay Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Asnawi P. Muti to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army Reserve. Ivan V. San Jose to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Von Albert M. Sumergido to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Arcadio S. Posada, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Jonathan S. Manyo to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Abner E. Viray to the rank of Colonel, Dental Service Reserve. Ronald M. Bautista to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. And Ruben B. Candelario to the rank of Brigadier General. Mr. Secretary, kindly report on the jurisdictional requirements and other pertinent information relative to the ad interim appointments and nominations of these 50 senior officers in compliance with the new rules of the Commission and the new rules of the standing committees.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors. The 50 ad interim appointments and nominations dated January 17, March 10, and April 13, 2021, under consideration by the committee today, were received by the Commission on January 25, February 17, March 1, March 15, and April 14, 2021, and were referred on the same dates by the Senate President and CA Chairperson Vicente C. Soto III to the Committee on National Defense pursuant to Section 16, Chapter 5 of the new rules of the Commission, and were published on various dates in 2 newspapers of general circulation and broadcast over PTB4 pursuant to Section 2, Article 2 of the new rules of the standing committees. All 50 appointees and nominees complied with the submission of the documentary requirements as provided for in Section 24, Chapter 6 of the new rules of the Commission. Your CA Secretariat received 2 letters dated May 21 and 24, 2021 from the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, J1, from Major General Adriano S. Perez Jr., requesting for the waiver of the personal appearances of number 1, Colonel Primitivo M. Corpus Jr., as he has to depart from Manila today to attend a 1-month course on legal aspects of maritime security operations at Newport, Rhode Island, USA. And number 2, Colonel Justino T. Ramolete, who is on official travel abroad for the conduct of project management review on medium lift aircraft acquisition project in Madrid, Spain, and the combat utility helicopter acquisition project in Milek, Poland, from 15 May to 30 May 2021. Nevertheless, Colonel Ramolete will be appearing online, however, on audio only because the signal is weak. There was no opposition filed against any of the ad interim appointments and nominations. That is all, Mr. Chairperson, Your Honors.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Majority Leader.
yes, Mr. Chair, I move that the letters requesting for the waiver of personal appearances of Colonel Primitivo Corpus Jr. and Colonel Justino Ramolete be approved. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is hereby approved. Secretary, kindly administer the oath to the senior officers under consideration today, including Colonel Ramolete, who is present online.
Please all stand and raise your right hand. Do you all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding, so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, they are now all under oath.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I may call on Mr. Antonio C. Palces, nominated to the rank of Rear Admiral, the most senior among the officers now under consideration, take the seat in front. Sir, you may now give your opening statement if you have any.
To the committee chairman of the Committee on Defense of the Commission on Appointments, to other members of the committee, good morning, sirs and moms. I am Commodore Antonio Palces, the current Deputy Chief of Staff for Education, Training, and Doctrines. Sirs and moms, we are submitting, all of us, 48 members of the armed forces are submitting ourselves before the committee to determine our fitness and find out if we are worthy and well qualified for our promotion. Sirs and moms, our appearance before you today is a manifestation of the armed forces as an institution that we submit to the rule of law. We submit ourselves under the Constitution, and is a manifestation that we observe the supremacy of the civilian over the military. Thank you very much, sir. Yun lang, sir, and God bless us all.
Thank you po, Rear Admiral Palces.
Yes, sir.
We'd just like to acknowledge the presence online of Representative Rico Heron. Morning. Any member who wish to ask question or any queries to our appointees, nominees? Senator Risa, you are recognized, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Magandang umaga po sa inyo, Rear Admiral Palces.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. I'd just like to ask maybe a couple of questions. First of all, sir, China's new law took effect recently, authorizing its Coast Guard to forcibly remove foreign ships that illegally enter the country's waters and to use weapons against them if they do not comply with certain orders. The West Philippine Sea, as we all know, Rear Admiral, is a flashpoint for various claimant countries. The Philippines, of course, is one, and we should be seriously concerned because of reported Chinese Coast Guard presence within the proximity of our islands in the West Philippine Sea. So my first question to you, Rear Admiral, in this regard, as Deputy Chief of Staff for Education, Training, and Doctrine of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, would you know, sir, if we already have a new set of rules of engagement parallel to this new China Coast Guard law, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, ma'am, and to the members of the committee. Sir, before I reported here, I was given a guidance by the Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, that the only authorized persons to speak as far as issues in the West Philippine Sea is concerned are the Secretary of Department of Foreign Affairs and the presidential spokesperson, sir.
I see, Rear Admiral. I wish to make of record, Mr. Chair, my confidence in the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, of course, as the alter ego of the President in terms of articulating our country's foreign policy. I regret I cannot say the same about the other official mentioned by the good Rear Admiral, but also I wish to make of record my confidence in the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, whose recent words and actuations regarding this question of mine on the West Philippine Sea, on Chinese Coast Guard presence, have been reassuring in terms of the armed forces' upholding of our national sovereignty in the oceans. I regret, though I understand why the good Rear Admiral cannot offer his update about a new set of rules of engagement. But I also wish to make a record, Mr. Chair, that I salute his citation with the Bronze Cross Medal in 2018, particularly for his heroism during the conduct of a special mission at the BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal in the West Philippine Sea. Of course, Ayungin being one of the shoals recently even more known and popular among Filipinos, where our armed forces are upholding our national interests vis-a-vis Chinese encroachment. It says here that Rear Admiral Palces was credited for bringing the incoming security personnel and their provisions despite the threat of imminent danger posed by 3 People's Republic of China vessels, a Chinese maritime militia, a China Coast Guard vessel, which my question is about, and the People's Liberation Army Navy vessel. I hope the good Rear Admiral will be more at liberty to answer my second and last question, Mr. Chairman. In view of the continuing pandemic, Rear Admiral Palces, the pandemic which we all thought could not happen in our lifetime, but we've seen its devastating effects, especially if and when such events are deliberately employed as a weapon. In this regard, has the Armed Forces of the Philippines revised its doctrine on chemical, biological, radiological warfare with what we are experiencing now? After all, any of those potent modes of warfare in principle may be used by a desperate state or non-state actor in the future, Mr. Chairman.
On the second question, ma'am, I'm glad to inform the members of the committee that the armed forces, being proactive, is now developing new doctrines in the event that that's what the good senator mentioned earlier. It will be used as a weapon of mass destruction. And not only that, ma'am, we also currently we are developing our doctrines as far as the quote unquote new normal is concerned, as far as training is concerned, education, and all the things that your armed forces is supposed to do in any eventuality. Yes, ma'am. We have the doctrines, ma'am.
That's very good to know, Rear Admiral, Mr. Chairman. And thank you also for the good Rear Admiral's mention of the new normal, because indeed it is something we need to design, prepare for, and hopefully when it comes sooner than later, ensure that it is a new and better normal. So it is good to know that the AFP is also preparing the doctrines for those training and education, etc., in terms of the armed forces. So I guess that will be all for my questions for Rear Admiral Palces, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat po sa inyo, Rear Admiral. Advanced congratulations. Mabuhay po kayo, and my snappy salute. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much po, Senator Risa Ontiveros. Senator Bato de Rosa, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Admiral Palces.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, my question is related to the West Philippine Sea, and very much related in your position being the Chief of Training, Education, and Doctrine of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. And I will refuse to accept your refusal. Just in case ayaw mong sumagot sa tanong na ito, kailangan sumagot ka dito. My question is this. Alam mo, nasa doctrine ka at alam kong masyado kang seryoso dyan. Marami ka ng doctrine siguro ng AFP na na-formulate dahil nakakalbo ka na rin, naubos yung buhok mo sa kakaisip. But my question is this. Alam natin yung imminent threat coming from China na talagang pinapalaki at pinapalaki ng ating mga kababayan, dahil nandiyan naman talaga, nag-occupy sila sa West Philippines eh. But marami tayong mga kababayan ngayon, matatanda man or bata, na gustong-gustong makipaggira talaga sa China. Gustong-gusto nila, they're blaming the government for a very weak stance against China kuno, at gustong-gusto nila makipaggira. Pero ayaw naman nilang mag-ROTC. Alam mo, yung China have a very strong army, a very strong reserve force, and a very strong militia. Now, ngayon, being the chief of doctrine, training, and education, do you think talaga bang nararapat na ibalik natin ang ROTC para whatever happens in the future, magkagira man tayo o hindi, kailangang ready tayo as a nation, hindi lang as a military, kundi buong nation natin, ang ating mga kabataan, mababae man o malalaki, pwede natin mamobilize anytime kapag magkakaroon ng gira. So do you think kailangan na ba talaga? Very urgent na ba talaga na ibalik natin yung ROTC sa ating mga eskwelahan? Please answer my question.
Yes, sir. I strongly believe that the ROTC program should be revived in the schools, because even some students before evaded ROTC. However, majority, in my opinion and my personal experience, because before I entered PMA, I graduated the ROTC. I strongly believe so that even ROTCs are only held only on once a week, but it still instills discipline among the youth, which is very needed for a strong country. And they learn some lessons as far as military things are concerned. And if ever push comes to shove, God forbid, we have a ready reserve who can assist the armed forces regulars in any capacity that they do. And yes, sir, I strongly believe that ROTC needs to be revived in these schools, sir.
Thank you, General Palces. With that, I strongly support lahat kayo dito na andito ngayon sa harapan namin. Mr. Chairman, I fully support their deliberation to the plenary. Dahil lalong-lalo na itong mga nasa medical corps, nasa mga technical service, dental corps, nurse corps, kasi itong mga tao na ito, they are the frontliners to the frontliners ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. Sila yung taga-alaga ng mga nag-aalaga sa taong bayan. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat for the opportunity.
Salamat po, Senator Bato. Before I recognize Senator Bongo, Sir, Senator Lacson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I request that we call to the front seat Colonel Jonah Dalagit. And for consistency, we might as well call Colonel Antonio Bautista Jr. and Colonel Rolly Figueroa. The two other officers may occupy the seats at the sides of the session hall.
Colonel Figueroa.
Colonel Bautista Jr.
And Colonel Bautista.
Figueroa. Pwede naman dito sa side. Where's the other one? Sige. Anywhere. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to clear this up kasi similar naman yung issue na nakita ko dito sa inyong summary of information. This pertains to money and property accountabilities. I would just like you to inform the committee kung ano yung status and the details of say kay Colonel Jonah, money accountability in the amount of 672,000. Colonel Bautista Jr., 480,000. And 306,000 pesos kay Colonel Figueroa. No? Kasi ang report dito, dated 25 March 2021. This could be out of date already and kindly just inform the committee. Ano na yung status nitong money accountabilities ninyo? Thank you. Colonel Jonah muna. So we can clear this up.
Can you open the microphone, please?
Sir, I would like to make my apology. I wasn't informed about the status of the money accountability that you are mentioning.
But what's the status of the 672,000 advances that you made? Nakalagay dito with money, no? Tapos advances to operating expenses, payroll and STO, 672,800. And property, 1 unit pistol 9mm Glock 17 with accessories. As per certification issued by the AFP Accounting Center, dated 25 March 2021. So would you know the status? Or would you know the details of the advances that you made?
Maybe the accountability stated in that document, sir, were accountabilities of Camp Evangelista Station Hospital, because my previous assignment, I was just newly installed as commander of Army General Hospital this May 6, 2021. And I was the commanding officer of Camp Evangelista before that. So the money and accountability may be the um, accountabilities of the hospital that is ongoing processing, because when we turn over our resources to the next commanding officer, we have the remaining accountabilities of the previous quarter in our resources in the hospital. So that may be an accountability that will be paid by the next recurring quarter.
But in other words, you have not been cleared of this accountability yet.
I wasn't informed because I was given all the clearances that I am cleared. So I knew that I am cleared, sir. I just know
Do you have
that
a document to show that you have been cleared? Because you knew beforehand that you will be facing the Commission on Appointments.
yes, sir.
And you could have attended to this because, kasama ito sa summary of information.
yes,
And
sir.
you could have anticipated that one or two members will ask you about the money and property accountabilities. Di ba?
Yes, sir. But we are given all the clearances
Oh,
before. Yes,
where
sir.
are the clearances?
It was submitted to the office. It was submitted to the
Meron ba?
Commission for
May I
confirmation.
just ask the
Yes, sir.
Secretariat if, kasi ang latest dito is wala eh. Ito yung latest kasi 25 March 2021 according to the Secretariat. And this stands unless you present to us a clearance. Kaya nga sabi ko kanina, this could be out of date because 25 March and we May 26 na ngayon. Baka merong subsequently, you were issued the clearance accordingly.
Yes, sir.
But you don't have in your possession any document to show that you have been cleared. I'm not saying that you stole
Yes,
this.
sir. Yes,
I understand
sir. No,
that
sir.
yung unit,
I understand, sir.
siyempre may mga naiiwan ng
Yes,
mga
sir.
accountabilities, but still, official records would show that you have money and property accountabilities. And you will have to, inform
Yes,
the
sir.
committee kung ano yung status nito.
Yes, sir. My apologies, sir, because I wasn't informed of the status of the clearance, because I was given all the clearances on with regard to the requirement for appearing before prior to the commission on appointment.
Okay.
So when I had my clearances, they issued to me, and I wasn't informed that I still have that accountability because the requirements for those accountabilities, the clearances was issued to me, and I submitted it. So with that document, I guess I wasn't informed of that, sir. So my apology. I will just check on that, sir.
Yes, Colonel Bautista, 480,000. Ano yung status nito? Press yung mic mo.
Sir, good morning, General Antonio Bautista, sir. I believe, sir, I have cleared that already. My accountability, I have submit all my clearance to the office of the OLA. And I believe that accountability was of last year because we have a recurring MOE and my station is in Sulu. We have this delayed in the clearances because we have to share with the other field accounting office for our MOE in the brigade. But I had already cleared this as of February, sir.
So you have already submitted to the concerned office, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's already been cleared, sir, because it's a recurring accountability for the
Okay,
commanders.
I have it here. No? As far as Colonel Bautista is concerned, this is dated, oh, bakit hindi reconcile ito? This is dated 19 February 2021 and yet, Mhm. Ganun din. Anyway, next one. Colonel Figueroa.
I'm Colonel Rolly Figueroa, sir, the commanding officer of 534 Engineer Construction Battalion. Sir, I'm sorry, sir, but I don't know. I was not able to inform about my 6,000 accountability, sir.
So you were not informed
Yes, sir.
that you have a pending money accountability in the amount of 306,000 pesos.
6,000, sir.
This is also dated, yung certification issued by the AFP Accounting Center, pareho rin, dated 25 March 2021. And I wonder why yung kay Colonel Bautista, merong 19 February 2021. No, this is not a clearance. This is the status. This is actually not a clearance. You know? This is the status of money and property accountability. It says here,
Not cleared.
precisely, not cleared, yeah. Purpose for which issued confirmation of appointment, meaning today, confirmation of your ad interim appointment. Remarks, not cleared. So while anyway, hindi pa naman ito ma-adjourn or ma-suspend, can you find out and if you can produce the your clearances, no? Property, money and property accountabilities, yung clearances. Can you work now and produce those documents before we adjourn or
Sir,
suspend?
Yes, sir, we will
Thank
into
you.
that, sir.
So can you just occupy yan? Ikaw na lang mag-testify doon. Dito na lang. Yeah, sige, please.
Sir, acting Chief Policy Colonel Omar, sir, all the necessary requirements for CLCL were submitted, sir. And usually, sir, even though it is indicated that not cleared, sir, inaayos na po yan ng individual.
Sabi nga ni Senator Drilon, we rely on official records, ano? We cannot rely on your testimonies in the absence of official records. This will prevail. So where are the clearances? That's all we need. so we can get over with the issue at hand. Saan? Yun lang produce between now and adjournment. I would like to see the clearances, yung money and property accountability clearances of these three officers.
Yes, sir, will do, sir.
Para hindi na maabala.
Yes, sir, will do, sir.
Oh, sige, thank you. You may now, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Thank you very
Chairman.
much po, Senator Lacson. Senator Risa de Veros.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before Brigadier General Bautista and Colonel Joanna Dalagit leave the front, may I also make something of record about each of them and then ask one question to Colonel Joanna, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I join with Sen Ping in awaiting the documents about the clearances regarding the three officers, including also earlier Colonel Rolly Figueroa. But about Brigadier General Bautista, I'd just like to make of record that included in the information we received about him is that he is admired for prioritizing his men's welfare and is well respected for his sterling leadership. And lastly, at this point, Mr. Chairman, I note about Colonel Joanna Dalagit in the information about her that she's reported to be a passionate advocate of causes related to mental health and maternal and child health or care. Mr. Chairman, these are advocacies we share in common. So I'd just like to ask Colonel Joanna if she could please inform the committee in what way she implements these advocacies of hers as the commanding officer of the Army General Hospital, Mr. Chairman.
As a medical corps officer assigned initially at the field, I am an advocate of mental health because I saw our soldiers suffering from mental health when deployed to combat zone. So it's not only the soldiers that is suffering that, it also includes their relatives, their wives, the loss, because I experienced during Marawi time, because I'm the commanding officer of Camp Evangelista Station Hospital, so was able to experience a lot of mental health problems during those times. So when the Department of Health declared that all hospitals should have this mental health section in the hospital, so I had this initiative to enhance my psychologists in the station hospital to formulate some policies and procedure and initiate the mental health and psychosocial health. So we were deploying teams in the field to really discuss on mental health and stress management, how to go about with stress. And now in the Philippine Army, we were able to launch the Mental Health and Resilience Center, which will initially launch in the Army General Hospital and eventually cascaded into division hospitals. So that is the advocacies we are enhancing and empowering our men to be skillful enough to cascade their skills to not only in the military, but all those dependents, their wives, their families.
Ma'am Risa, can you turn on your microphone, please?
And forgive me, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat, Colonel Joanna Dalagit. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chairman. I look forward to receiving from Colonel Joanna as well as the two other officers those documents about the clearances. And beyond that, I look forward to continuing to work with Colonel Joanna Dalagit and other like-minded officers in supporting the promotion of mental health, including psychosocial services, mechanisms like the Mental Health and Resilience Center, moving forward. So, salamat, Colonel Joanna Dalagit. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Senator Risa. So you're now excused, Colonel Dalagit, Colonel Figueroa, you're now excused, sir. The chair would like to recognize the presence of Senator Franklin Drilon, sir. Morning po. Senator Bongo, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to express my sincere and utmost gratitude to the 44 senior military officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines whose ad interim appointments will be confirmed, and 6 nominations given consent to be before us this morning for their standing contributions and untiring service to the Filipino nation. Let me make of record my full support for the confirmation of the ad interim appointments of Colonel Santiago Rodriguez Jr., Colonel Frederick Sales, Colonel Marlo O. Maleza, dati pong Assistant Chief of Staff for Operations ng G3. And of course, si Brigadier General Mortela, isang brigade commander na po ngayon at naging Assistant Chief of Staff for G3 and naging sa PSG po. And Colonel Asnawi Muti, Commanding Officer of the 25th Infantry Battalion. And Colonel Oscar Malignasay, Assistant Chief of Staff for Personnel, G1, 10th ID, as well as the nominations of Rear Admiral Antonio Palces. Tagal ko na rin po itong kilala at naging commander po ng Naval Forces Eastern Mindanao sa Davao. At ngayon ay Deputy Chief of Staff for Education, Training and Doctrine, J8 sa Armed Forces of the Philippines. At si Brigadier General Freddy de la Cruz na ngayon po ay kasalukuyang 1st Scout Ranger Regiment Commander po dyan sa Bulacan at naging Deputy Group Commander ng PSG. Further, I would like to extend my full support for the confirmation of the interim appointments of Colonel Leo Marte and Colonel Rosel Tan, Colonel Nelson Simpliciano, and Paul Pardo, both from the Veterinary Corps. Colonel Judge Advocate General Victoria Odolio, Colonel Jonah Dalagit, Colonel Arlene Mandal, Erlene Espera, Barbara Conte, Darlene Flores, and Colonel Assumption D from the Nurse Corps, and our admirable, inspiring women in uniform. And of course, Colonels Abner Viray and Rogelio Montero Jr. from the Dental Service, Colonel Joseph Ibuna and Marvin De Jesus from the Medical Administrative Corps, Colonel Eugene Villaruz, Colonel Jose Santos from Philippine Navy, Marines, Colonel Domingo Meschola Jr., Colonel Bon Sumerhido, excuse me, Colonel Ivan San Jose, Colonel Christopher Frede Luces, Navy Captain Jun Marsales, Colonel Jonathan Manyo, Colonel Justino Ramolete, Colonel Arcadio Posada, Navy Captain Elmer Toriado, Colonel Joshua Leones, Navy Captain Bonifacio Manzano, Colonel Danilo Facundo, Colonel Rolly Figueroa, Brigadier General Antonio Bautista. Meron rin pong namesake po ito na Air Force. Hindi ko lang po alam kung kamag-anak niya. Navy Captain, kilala ko rin po. Navy Captain Edelberto Balduman Jr., Colonel Carlito Buslon, Colonel Arnulfo de Vera, Colonel Primitivo Corpus Jr., Navy Captain Lemar Calzada, Navy Captain Percival Buted, Colonel Ronald Bautista. And lastly, I express my support for the nominations of Brigadier General Benjamin Batara Jr., Brigadier General Mark Moro, Brigadier General Noel Beleran, and Brigadier General Ruben Candelario. With that, once again, would like to thank each and every one of you for your unwavering support and service to the Filipino nation and our people. Especially right now po, maraming salamat po sa inyong serbisyo sa ating mga kababayan itong sa pandemya po. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat po, Senator Bongo. Any other member wish to manifest or any question? Senator Lacson?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, you know my position in this regard. No, I've always been kind, and I will remain very kind to these people. So I asked Ola, Colonel Omar, to confer with the accounting or AFP Accounting Center. And he just told me that he has the commitment of the AFP Accounting Center to finish the ikaw na magsabi nga.
Yes, sir. I just talked to the
Come from you.
accounting center chief, sir, with regards to the status and money accountability of Colonel Jonathan Lagit, Major General Antonio Bautista, and Colonel Rolly P. Pergoroa, sir. Within the month, sir, they will
They will finish it within 1 month.
Yes, sir.
So with that commitment, I will not move for deferment, no, Mr. Chairman. You know, ako, I always yield on minor issues, but I assert on major issues. And I think this one is only minor issue that can be resolved in due time. So with the commitment made by the OLA, Colonel Omar Jr., then I will move actually for the to recommend to the plenary the confirmation of all the officers, unless other members have opposition, Mr. Chairman, or objection. Thank you.
Thank you very
Mr.
much po, Senator
Chairman.
Lacson.
Thank you, sir.
Senator Risa, you are recognized po, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No opposition, no objection, but may the chairman just allow me to please ask one or at most 2 or 3 questions to 4 other officers before us this morning, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask just 3 questions of Brigadier General Noel Beleran, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At magandang umaga po sa inyo, Brigadier General Beleran. Sir, as the commander of the Naval Installation Command at Sangley Point, what is your stand on the possibility that the Navy will be evicted out of Sangley by reason of a project there? Could you share with the committee the strategic advantage of the naval presence in this area, Mr. Chairman?
Good morning, Your Honors. Yes, ma'am. There is a proposal that the Sangley Point will be converted into the naval base in Sangley Point will be converted into a Sangley Point International Airport. And we support the move for the establishment of a Sangley Point International Airport. But we also want to have a ownership and be part of the development of the Sangley Point International Airport. And it is the stand of the Navy, as mentioned by the Flag Officer in Command, that we want to stay in Sangley Point for the reason that this is a strategic location guarding the entrance to Manila Bay. And this can be considered as a main hub for the easy response time of our ships in responding to any exigency outside of Metro Manila. So the Navy is very supportive of the project of the provincial government to turn that in the government to make it as a international airport, and we want to be part of it, and we want to stay and guard the entrance to the Manila Bay considering that it is near also the seat of power in Manila. That's all, ma'am.
Salamat po, Brigadier General Beleran. And if the Philippine Navy will get its wish or its desire to, in fact, have ownership and be part of that project or of that development, are you confident? And how will Navy, Philippine Navy, be able to sustain its strategic advantage in terms of the location, of Sangley Point or of the Naval Installation Command there?
Ma'am, there are on the proposal of the proponents, there are areas that they want to reclaim, offering us a deeper depth for our big ships, so that we can sustain our naval presence and maritime operations in the area.
Thank you, General Beleran. Just one more follow-up question related to that. According to Dr. Clarita Carlos, a UP professor and former National Defense College of the Philippines president, we are an archipelago, but our armed forces are configured for a continental country. The 140,000 AFP consists of 71% Army, 18% Navy, half of those, or nearly half of those, Philippine Navy Marines, and 11% Air Force. For Dr. Carlos, our main security concern is the defense of our maritime territories. The Philippine Marines are trained under the Archipelagic Coastal Defense Doctrine, which pivots on the anti-access and area denial of our maritime territories. Now, General Beleran, given this information, could you share with us your opinion on why 98,000 of our AFP consist of land forces and why the Philippine Marine Corps get a meager allocation for their equipment? And lastly, is there a valid basis for Dr. Carlos's proposal to radically alter the structure of our AFP to serve our national interests, especially in our maritime domain, Mr. Chairman?
The Philippine Navy and the Marines, the sailors and Marines, are the forefront of protecting our sovereignty and territorial integrity due to the archipelagic configuration and maritime nature of our country. And it is the duty of the mandate of the Navy, though we are, as you mentioned, ma'am, that we are a small percentage of the armed forces. We have come up with a concept to maximize utilization of the personnel, our fleet and Marines. Anchoring on our active archipelagic defense strategy, we have adopted the hub on the operational concept, the hub and spoke, where our bases are scattered all over the country. So we have a main base providing command and control. We have the main operating base, an extension of to sustain the command and control, and the forward operating bases for our forward deployed assets. So it's a hub and spoke concept so that we can maximize the utilization of our Navy. With regards to the number of our personnel versus the Army, of course, who would not want to increase the number of our personnel, especially the Marines. But I hope our leaders would notice this and give us a bigger number or allocation for our troops. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, General Beleran. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Together with the other members of the committee and indeed the commission, I look forward to continuing to work with the armed forces in achieving, well, all its goals under the AFP modernization program. And of course, always with a special eye to the role being played by the Philippine Navy, including the Philippine Navy Marines for our archipelagic country. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman. Advanced congratulations, Brigadier General Beleran. Mabuhay po kayo. My snappy salute.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chair, may I also ask a couple of questions to Brigadier General Freddy de la Cruz?
Brigadier General de la Cruz. Okay, ma'am.
Excuse me, with the permission of Senator Risa.
Yes, of course, Enting.
What type of uniform is that?
Major service below, sir.
No. Naka-combat boots ka ba?
We special operations forces use the combat boots, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead po.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At magandang umaga po, Brigadier General de la Cruz.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I'd just like to hear your opinion on this matter in relation to the national government's implementation of the vaccination program. In what ways may the military be effective agencies also in this task? How would this multitasking role, or how would these multitask roles affect the efficiency and effectiveness of the organization in view of the continuing internal security operations and criminality nationwide, and also in view of the forthcoming national and local elections in 2022? Mr. Chairman.
Good morning, Your Honors. I will speak doon lang po sa unit ko, 1st Scout Ranger Regiment, on the initiatives we are doing in relation to what the good senator has mentioned, especially sa vaccination. Sa 1st Scout Ranger Regiment, ma'am, we are also considered as one of the frontliners, and we have already vaccinated our medical staff, medical personnel who are in charge of taking care of our isolation facilities and kung paano nila pinamanage yung mga COVID positive patients. In my unit, we have already coordinated with the Department of Health, and they have already certified one of our buildings to be a certified vaccination center. And we are offering that not only for the men in uniform, but even to the localities nearby, Camp Texon. So that way we could help in para mapabilis yung vaccination rollout ng ating gobyerno. As to the doing our job in the midst of the pandemic, my units, 5 battalions of which are deployed in different parts of the archipelago, and they're doing their mandate to help the other units in their areas to deal with the threats thereat, while also being careful not to be infected with the COVID-19.
Salamat po, General de la Cruz, at sana manatiling ang ligtas at malusog yung inyong mga tao at kayo rin mismo. Just one more question, General De La Cruz, and also requesting an update on this question. Based on your record, sir, your name came up in a CHR case involving torture, violation of right to life or homicide, violation of right to liberty or arbitrary detention, violations of RA 7438 and 7610. It was resolved that human rights violations had been committed, and the admin case pending with the General Court Martial of the Philippine Army is being monitored. What can you say, General, about this administrative case filed against you? And could you please give the committee an update about this case, Mr. Chairman?
Regarding that matter, ma'am, I think that was early 2000, if I remember it right. I was the task group commander of an operation, and with that there was merong nag file sir ng case na court martial, and it was resolved after about a year or so, and the status, ma'am, is case resolved.
So cleared na kayo, General. Cleared na po.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was whispering to the chairman, you need not give us the details, no? Just sabihin mo lang, cleared na po ako dyan, period. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So do I understand it right, Brigadier General De La Cruz, cleared na kayo
Yes,
sa
ma'am.
kasong iyon?
Opo.
All right. Thank you very much, Brigadier General De La Cruz, for answering my question about that very important issue as well. And advanced congratulations din po sa inyo. Mabuhay, and my snappy salute. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman, Brigadier General De
Thank
La
you, Senator
Cruz.
Risa. Thank you,
Mr.
General.
Chair, may I ask now one question of Brigadier General Mark Edwin Moro, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, before we proceed, the chair would like to recognize the presence online of Senator Joel Villanueva. Sir.
Thank you.
Senator Risa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, at magandang umaga po sa inyo, Brigadier General Moro.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Sir, records show that you were one of those who were reprimanded in May 2017 for misconduct based on an open letter or complaint sent to then AFP Chief of Staff General Eduardo Año, containing screenshots of a certain PMA alumnus sharing a fake news article attacking journalist, co-founder, and CEO of Rappler, Maria Ressa, as well as the malicious and ungentlemanly comments from retired and active AFP officers. So, Brigadier General Moro, based on this experience, how do you think that members of the AFP, especially those who are in high-ranking positions, should conduct yourselves in the world of social media, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I deeply regret it, ma'am, for that reckless remark. And as it turned out, the Armed Forces of the Philippines does not condone such infraction. That's why I was reprimanded for that remark, ma'am.
Marami pong salamat sa inyo, Brigadier General Moro. Madalang po ako makarinig, hindi ko alam kung ang aking mga kasama rin sa komiteng ito, pero madalang po ako makarinig ng ganyang kataus-puso at mapagkumbabang expression that a high military official would deeply regret something that the armed forces does not condone. I'm glad to hear you say that at nagpapasalamat ako sa inyong pagpapahayag niyan sa aming komite. Lalo lamang pong nadagdagan yung paggalang ko dun sa paraan kung paano kayo mag-isip tungkol sa napakahalagang isyong iyan. So that is my only question for you, good Brigadier General Moro. Advanced congratulations. Mabuhay po kayo. My snappy salute,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, just one last question, if I may, for Brigadier General Benjamin Batara Jr.
Okay po, ma'am.
Salamat po, Mr. Chairman, at magandang umaga po sa inyo, Brigadier General Batara.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. General, based on your record, you were recognized for facilitating the integration of numerous rebel returnees through the social integration program of the Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process. Could you please share with this committee your experience with this integration? And lastly, what policies or programs would you suggest to encourage more integration and intervention, or rather integration of the rebel groups in coming back to mainstream social life, Mr. Chairman?
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Colonel Benjamin Batara Jr., presently designated as the 1102nd Brigade Commander based in Sulu. In most of my assignments, ma'am, I've been dealing with surrenderies, and I can see that we can actually entice a lot of our rebel brothers and sisters to go back to the folds of the law by giving the necessary benefits like livelihood program, housing, and most of all, yung tinatawag nating education. In Sulu alone, we have, since the start of the year, we have received a lot of surrenderies from the Abu Sayyaf group, and we are making an effort to coordinate with the local government unit to take care of their livelihood programs, housing, and so many benefits so that we can entice more surrenderies, ma'am. That's it.
Salamat po, Brigadier General Batara. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman. I hope that the good general himself and fellow officials who will be tasked with similar tasks will continue in that. It's actually more than peacemaking, it's peace building work bilang kambal po ng national defense na ginagawa ng armed forces sa ating bansa. So that's my only question for the good Brigadier General, Mr. Chairman. Brigadier General Batara, advanced congratulations. Mabuhay po kayo. And again, my snappy salute.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Chair, lastly, if I may just make of record my advanced congratulations and expression of mabuhay and rendering my snappy salute also to Philippine Army Colonels Ivan San Jose and Von Albert Sumergido, as well as Philippine Army Colonel Ronald Bautista and Philippine Navy Captain Elmer Toriado. And last but certainly not the least, a very special shout out to Philippine Navy Marines, Colonels Danilo Facundo and Jose Mari Santos. Wow. Marami pong salamat, Mr. Chairman.
Maraming salamat po, Senator Risa Ontiveros. I'd just like to check if Colonel Justino Ramolete is present online.
Your Honor, I'm present online, sir.
Ayan, Colonel, may gusto ko na yung kamustahin ni Senator Lacson. Kamusta kayo dyan?
You know, we were just asked by the secretary to check on the strength of your signal in Spain. So wala naman kami tatanungin. How's the weather down there?
Actually, good morning, sir. We arrived yesterday in the Philippines, sir. So I'm quarantined in my quarters right now. Sir.
Sorry, wrong information. Thank you.
Walang yan. Sorry. So okay. Huwag niyo na mention yung hotel niyo, sir. Okay na yan. Anyway, sige po. Any other members who wish to manifest or have a question po sa ating nominees? Majority Leader.
Mr. Chairman,
Just for the record, sorry, Majority Leader. Just for the record, I wrongly addressed General Bautista as Colonel a while ago. So just for the record, thank you.
Okay po. Majority Leader.
thank you, Mr. Chair. May I put on record my appreciation for one of the officers before us today, General Krishnamurti A. Mortela, who was assigned in Davao Oriental as a battalion commander in 2012 when Typhoon Pablo hit the province, no? And together with then Governor Cora Malanaon and Congressman Nelson Dayangirang at that time of the 1st District, Colonel Mortela played a major role in helping the province of Davao Oriental bounce back from the damages brought about by Typhoon Pablo. And it's a never-ending pasasalamat from us for his role for helping the province get up after the typhoon. And also, on the second assignment, Mr. Chairman, he was the immediate past brigade commander of the 701st Brigade located in the city of Mati, Med District in Davao Oriental. So I'd like to put that on record, Mr. Chair. And also earlier, Senator Ping Lacson manifested his intent to move for this committee to recommend to the plenary the
Mr. Chairman.
officers before us. But before I move, Mr. Chair, to recognize Senator Lacson, I'd like to move that Senator Risa Hontiveros be recognized.
Okay, thank you, Majority Leader. Senator Risa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and with the indulgence of the good Majority Leader and Senator Ping, I just want to also briefly make a record, Mr. Chair, that since the good Majority Leader mentioned Brigadier General Mortela, whose first name, Krishnamurti, is that of a very well-known Indian philosopher, just to make a record that, to add to what the Majority Leader has said, that Brigadier General Mortela is highly regarded for being an active partner in rebuilding the lives of people in the GIDA, or geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas of the country, through the Lumon Communities Project, Halik, Health, Agriculture, Livelihood, Indigenous Culture, and Knowledge, and through the Pabayanihan, or Free Housing for the Poor. Just for the record, Mr. Chairman, and again, advance congratulations, mabuhay, and my snappy salute to Brigadier General Mortela. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Salamat po, Senator Risa. Majority Leader. Before proceed, Senator Drilon, raise your hand.
Yes, just an inquiry, Mr. Chairman. I was late because I had to attend the Ladakh Executive Committee meeting, so I came in 30 minutes late. Just an inquiry. What happened to the ad interim appointment of Colonel Luel R. Tan?
Sir, we have deferred this po sa susunod na meeting po natin to give time po to Jonathan and to trash out yung problema po with isa sa mga complainants.
Yes, because the objections on the confirmation of the ad interim appointment of Colonel Lowell R. Tan was on the basis of the allegations and complaint of retired Brigadier General Lope C. Dagoy. The records will show that, Mr. Chairman. And we deferred acting on the ad interim appointment because we wanted to find out what happened to the charges which were filed in the AFP. And it is on that basis that we deferred the confirmation of his ad interim appointment. I wrote and requested the committee to secure from the armed forces the results, the records and results of the investigation on the complaint filed against Colonel Luel Artan. And Mr. Chairman, we are in receipt of the responses of the AFP, and it would appear that these cases were dismissed as of December 2020. And therefore, I do not know exactly what the status is in our committee. As far as I recall, this was deferred. The ad interim confirmation was deferred because of this complaint. I am putting on record that we have received the official confirmation that the cases filed against the nominee has been dismissed. I do not know Colonel Tan. I am just talking from the point of view of equity and fairness. These charges have been filed, and this officer is retiring in about a year's time, and the only reason why he is no longer that he's still qualified is because the appointment was ad interim, and therefore the confirmation goes back to the date of the appointment, which is just about over a year from his birthday. So may I inquire why this, if the committee is prepared to consider this, and because the issue to me has been settled, and so equity dictates that we should consider the ad interim appointment of Colonel Luel R. Tan to Brigadier General.
Yes, sir. I understand, sir, your concern. Pero the confidential information po that we got from the AFP, hindi po lahat ng members po natin ay nabibigyan ho ng copy. Only 4 of us po ay nabigyan. So I'm instructing the Secretariat to please furnish every member of this information po. So para lang po to give ample time, sir, para mapag-aralan po ng mga members po natin.
Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, I can state under oath that I received the report which I requested, and there is no question. There is nobody saying that this report is fake.
Yes, sir.
Indeed, it is given to us in the regular course of performance of function, and we assume that this is clearance is valid and in order. So I'm just talking from the point of view of equity. kawawa naman po itong official na dinidefer natin ang confirmation na ang basehan doon sa opposition tinalakay na ng ahensya na siyang by first crack at this. And the case against him by the same complainant was dismissed. So bakit pa po hindi natin, in fairness, I repeat, I do not know Colonel Lowell Tan, but fairness dictates that we should include him in today's confirmation because the cases against him have been dismissed by the agency to which he belongs.
Opo. Senator, we would just like to provide po all the members po a copy of itong galing po sa AFP. Hindi po kasi lahat nabigyan.
Okay, so can we,
Senator, I assure you that next, we still have one more committee hearing po na we will decide po on the if whether we confirm or we deny the good
So, Mr. President, may I make again a parliamentary inquiry? Is there any member of the committee still opposed to the confirmation of the ad interim appointment of Colonel Tang to become Brigadier General?
Mr. Chairman,
if
I may.
Yes, Senator Lacson.
Yes, I couldn't agree more with Senator Dillon because I also was in receipt of this information that the investigation conducted against General Tan has been dismissed, both by the Philippine Army and the GHQ. However, for the information of every of the members, I was in a telephone conversation with the Vice Chairman, Congressman Ronnie Zamora, and apparently not all the members of the House contingent have received the copy of the report submitted by the AFP. And so this morning, before we started the hearing, today's hearing, I requested Congressman Perez, the chairman, if we can calendar in the next meeting of the committee. Anyway, we still have 1 week because in fairness to General Tan, if he is bypassed by next week and be adjourned, he might not get another ad interim appointment from the president. And in fairness to him, he has been cleared. We questioned him. We questioned the retired General Dagoy. And I think we already have more than enough information to decide on the matter of the confirmation of General Tan. So with that, I would support the chairman to defer today, but we should take up the matter of confirmation of General Tan next week, not later than next week, because we are going on our, I think, CNG tayo next week. And ang concern dito, baka hindi mabigyan ng another ad interim appointment si General Tan. So as you mentioned, yung equity dictates na dapat i-calendar natin siya. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator Dillon.
Thank you for that clarification, Senator Lacson.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Majority Leader.
Yeah, just to add up, there are 2 complaints against the confirmation of General Tan. And what was mentioned today is one of the 2. And that is with regards to the complaint of retired General Dagoy. So, well, as you said, and as relayed by Senator Ping, we should take up his confirmation by next week to give a chance to each member to weigh things on the 2 complaints if they wish, and come up with a decision by the time we meet again next week. So I just would like to put that on record, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Mr. Chair, may we know what is the other complaint?
This,
Mr.
Chairman.
The other complaint, sir, is the complaint by Congresswoman Lucy Torres po. against General Tan.
Oh, yes, but Congresswoman Lucy Torres came to the committee, testified, and we had an opportunity to ask questions. Can we not decide now on this appointment?
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Majority Leader.
Yes, well, it may be good to decide today on the confirmation of appointment of General Tan. The House contingent has met last Monday and decided to have more time to think it over. And that is the reason why General Tan's inclusion in today's agenda was withdrawn. And as the chairman said, there's a commitment to take it up again by the time we meet on June 2, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I will submit to the ruling of the chair, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much po, Senator Dulan. Thank you, Majority Leader. We proceed.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Earlier, Senator Ping Lacson manifested his intent to recommend to the plenary for confirmation of the officers before us today. So I now move to recognize Senator Ping Lacson.
Senator Ping.
I'll give you the honors, Majority Leader, because I respect you very much.
The feeling is mutual. Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee recommends to the plenary for the confirmation of 44 ad interim appointments and for the commission to give its consent to 6 nominations of senior officers in the armed forces of the Philippines. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Is there an objection? Hearing none, motion is hereby approved.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no items under our other matters, I move to adjourn this committee's meeting.
Any objection on motion of Majority Leader? There being no objection, the meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you very much po.
The 15th plenary session of the Commission on Appointments on the second regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Let us all pause for a minute of silent prayer. Thank you. Please remain standing for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang magiliw, dalas ng silanganan, alam na puso, sa kanyang mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tulad ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulubi, di ka pasisihin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong buka, may tilagang tula at awit sa paglayang dinamahal, ang kislap ng wala at mo'y tagumpay na nagtinilig, ang bituin at araw niyang kailan pa may di magdidilim, lupa ng araw, dalawa ang ating pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo, ang ligaya dapat may mag-api, ang mamatay lang dahil sa'yo.
The Secretary will please call the roll.
The honorable members of the Commission on Appointments. Advincula,
Present.
Almario,
Present.
Alvarez Jr., Arbison, Cagas, Chipeco Jr.,
Present.
De La Rosa,
Present.
Drilon, Ferrer de Fort, Peron,
Present.
Go,
Present.
Ontiveros,
Present.
Give
Blackstone,
every towns new PMP buildings kasi na
Pancho,
Present.
Director sir, coordinated yung
Pimentel, the
basic facilities.
Po,
Present.
Ramirez Sato,
Present.
Yes, what? Thank you.
Recto, Revilla Jr.,
Present.
Villanueva,
Present.
Villar, Zamora, Subiri.
Present. Present.
The Honorable Chairperson is present.
With 2 members present physically and 16 online for a total of 18, the chair declares the existence of a quorum. Joe, the leader.
The chairman, I move to dispense with the reading of the journal of the plenary session held on May 17, 2021, and consider the same as approved.
Any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The journal is approved. Joe, the leader.
Mr. Chairman, may we now proceed to consider the recommendation of the Committee on National Defense on the nominations and ad interim appointments of 50 senior officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Any objection? Hearing none. The consideration of the recommendation of the Committee on National Defense is in order.
Mr. Chair, I move that the chairperson of the Committee on National Defense, Representative Luis John Ferrer IV, be recognized.
Representative Luis John Ferrer IV is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, esteemed colleagues, as Chairman of the Committee on National Defense, it is my distinct honor and privilege to sponsor today the confirmation of the ad interim appointments and consent to the nominations of 50 senior officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. This morning, your committee conducted a public hearing to deliberate on these ad interim appointments and nominations. After a thorough deliberation and scrutiny, your committee found them not wanting fitness, competence, and integrity, and found their qualifications to be sufficient. It has been determined by your committee that the said 50 senior officers are all fit and qualified to be promoted to the ranks they are appointed or nominated to, and therefore ruled to recommend to the plenary the confirmation of the ad interim appointments and the commission to give its consent to the nomination of the 50 senior officers in the Armed Forces of the Philippines. First is Antonio C. Palces to the rank of Rear Admiral.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Krishnamurti A. Mortella to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Antonio I. Bautista Jr. to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Ruben B. Candelario to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Noel D. Beleran to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Benjamin G. Batara Jr. to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Mark Edwin B. Moro to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Freddy T. De La Cruz to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Ronald M. Bautista to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Von Albert M. Sumergido to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Ivan V. San Jose to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Domingo B. Meschola Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Jonathan S. Manyo to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Marlo S. Homalesa to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Oscar B. Balignasay Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Arnulfo C. De Vera to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Arcadio S. Posada to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Frederick M. Sales to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Rolly B. Figueroa to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Joshua R. Leones to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Bonifacio I. Manzano to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Elmer G. Toriado to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Junmar A. Sales to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Danilo T. Facundo to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Navy, Marines.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Percival O. Buted to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Edilberto O. Balduman to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Lemar R. de la Calzada, to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Jose Marie T. Santos to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Navy Marines.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Abner E. Viray to the rank of Colonel, Dental Service Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Rogelio T. Montero Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Dental Service Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Darlene D. Flores to the rank of Colonel, Nurse Corps.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Barbara Lolini C. Conte to the rank of Colonel, Nurse Corps Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Erlene P. Espera to the rank of Colonel, Nurse Corps Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Assumption R.D. to the rank of Colonel, Nurse Corps Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Arlene M. Mandal to the rank of Colonel, Nurse Corps Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Jonah D. Dalagit to the rank of Colonel, Medical Corps Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Santiago O. Rodriguez Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Medical Corps Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Marvin A. De Jesus to the rank of Colonel, Medical Administrative Corps.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Joseph Alain U. Ibuna to the rank of Colonel, Medical Administrative Corps Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Rosel L. Tan to the rank of Colonel, Judge Advocate General Service.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Primitivo M. Corpus Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Judge Advocate General Service Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Victoria R. Odulio to the rank of Colonel, Judge Advocate General Service Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Carlito T. Buslon to the rank of Colonel, Chaplain Service Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Paul Vincent D. Fajardo to the rank of Colonel, Veterinary Corps.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
And Nelson S. Simpliciano to the rank of Colonel, Veterinary Corps Reserve.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
That's all, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Representative Pereira. Majority Leader.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Majority Leader.
Mr. Chairman, I move that Senator Joel Villanueva be recognized.
Senator Joel Villanueva is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Majority Floor Leader. This is just a short manifestation of support to our for the confirmation of our 44 ad interim appointments, especially, Mr. Chairman, Colonel Joshua Leones and Colonel Jose Marie Santos, who hailed from the great province of Bulacan. We pray, Mr. Chairman, that the confirmation of these officials will serve as an inspiration to those who want to enter military service, and that these appointments will strengthen the integrity of this institution. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Majority Leader.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, there being no other matters to discuss.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, sorry.
Yes, Senator Ontiveros.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I may also very briefly, just to add my joining in the confirmation of our commission of these officers this morning, including Colonel Von Albert Sumergido, known as a very meticulous officer, like Senator Joel, Colonel Jose Marie Santos, known as a good man and a very efficient officer, and Captain Elmer Toriado, known also as a good man, a very efficient and idealistic officer. So to all these officers present with us this morning, Mr. Chairman, congratulations now, mabuhay po kayo, and my snappy salute. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Majority Leader. Yes, Representative Ferrer, you're recognized.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Medyo may nalagpasan po ako.
May lalampasan.
Mr. Chairman, Mr.
Yes,
President.
Senator Lacson.
Yeah, before the chairman of the committee is recognized, something caught our attention. Meron na palang veterinary corps sa Armed Forces of the Philippines. How I would just like to address this to the chairman or the committee chairman. How long ago has this been organized or created?
Which one?
Veterinary corps. Hindi po familiar kaya tsaka gusto ko malaman anong mga hayop pa inalagaan nila doon. I suppose aso lang kasi wala naman siguro pusa sa armed forces.
Oo, bukod sa K9, ano ba ho? Mag-kangaroo ba? Wala naman yatang kangaroo.
I'm not sure if it's still proper to ask this question, but it's really interesting to know that there's already a veterinary corps. During our time, never heard na merong veterinary corps.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, I'm sure they have stocks. I'm sure they have stocks of ivermectin with them. Sure. Doon sa veterinary corps.
Anyway,
Just kidding, Mr. President. Just kidding.
Representative Ferrer, you may
Mr. Chair,
continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the
Mr.
record,
Chairman,
Maybe go on first with the motion for approval of the confirmation of the. Go ahead, Representative Ferrer.
thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, any name not called po kanina sa deliberation, meron po ba? Can you raise your hand? Ayun na. So, I think, may I move for the confirm, Mr. Chair? Yes. Can I
Mr.
can you
Chair.
mention the names of Colonel Arcadio Esposada, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army. Nalibanan ko po kayo, di ba?
You know, I was lost in the pages also. You know? So what page are you talking about? And who is
Page 7, Mr. Chair.
page 7? We missed out on Colonel Posada.
Yes. Did I mention you earlier, sir? I did? So okay na. So, sorry po. Frederick Sales. Natawag po. Sorry po.
No, even
Colonel Marte. Natawag po. Ayun, sorry. Sir, page number 8 po. Page 8 po. Page 8 po.
all right.
Sorry.
We have missed out on this four
Yes, sir.
officers.
4 or 5? 4? So,
The 4 officers.
ayun, okay. So, Colonel Marte, Colonel Muti, and Colonel Fredules Luces, no? And Ramolete, online, and Leones, no?
Huh? Who?
Na-recognize na kanina po. Sino po, sir?
Who is the 3rd officer?
So, sino po yung...
Who is the 3rd officer? Yeah. Ano?
Villaruz? Villaruz? Villaruz, sir? Villaruz. Yes, okay. Eugene? Oh, sorry, okay. So, from page 7, sir, the last...
Oh, yeah.
Page 7 po. So, may I move, Mr. Chair, to confirm Colonel Eugene Villaruz, Philippine Army, deserved.
To the rank of Colonel.
The rank of Colonel. Philippine
Any
Army,
objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Leo Jimmy Marte, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army, deserved.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
As Nawi P. Muti, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army, deserved.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Christopher L. Fred De Luces to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force, sorry.
Online. Any
Dito.
objection? Hearing none, approved.
And this one po online, Justino Ramulete, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force po.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
And that's all, Mr. Chair. Sorry po.
Okay na yung apat na officers, they were...
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Senator De Veros.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Only because the veterinary service was mentioned by Sen. Ping earlier, and since we rarely have the opportunity to recognize such points, just to note, Mr. Chairman, that Colonel Paul Vincent Fajardo of the Veterinary Service, Chief of the Public Health Service Center of the AFP Health Service Command, is acknowledged as one of the leading veterinary practitioners in the country. So just for the record, Mr. Chairman, and to Colonel Fajardo as well, congratulations, mabuhay po, and my snappy salute. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Majority Leader.
Mr. Chairman, maybe this will be appropriate under other matters just to learn more about the veterinary service because it was raised earlier by Senator Ping Lacson. Mr. Chair, may we ask from any of the officers, maybe Colonel Nelson Simpliciano with the indulgence of the chair, that the question be answered. Kailan ba nagsimula itong veterinary force?
It is not a practice that we do in plenary. You should have done it in the hearings, in the meetings. We cannot ask a nominee to take the floor.
Thank you,
We
Mr.
don't
Chairman.
do that. We have never done that before.
Thank you. So, now,
Well, perhaps in the next meeting of the committee, you can take it up.
thank you, Mr. Chair.
All
There
right.
being no other matters to discuss, I move to adjourn.
Thank you. Any objection? Hearing none, the session is hereby adjourned.
Bye-bye.